Hey, hey, hey. How's everybody doing? Welcome. How are you? How are you? How are you? It is an awesome time here. We're at the Bravo Place. That's right. We're having a good time here. It's a wonderful day here on the East Coast, New York City. The weather is, it is what it is. And we're grateful to be in the midst of the living, right? So we don't care what type of weather it is. We are here to celebrate life every day. I'm so happy. I'm excited. Those of you who have never been here before, welcome, welcome, welcome to Bravo with Sheila. Ladies, let's chat. We are excited always. I'm excited because this week we're celebrating a year. I've been in these YouTube streets for a whole entire year. Whew, I made it for a year, but only because of all of you. I've made it because of you. And so tonight we have a wonderful conversation. My co-host Dawn B is in the house. We might have some of the crew here popping up a little later. But listen, this whole platform was designed to enrich, empower, right? To pull you up, to move you from pain to power and from power to victory, right? I want us to win, 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 but we got to do that work. We got to sit in our stuff and we have to win, win, win. And so welcome once again to Bravo with Sheila. Ladies, let's chat. We're going to open up this show with an opener and then we're going to get into it because I believe tonight we're going to have some wonderful things to chat about, to talk about, and that we're going to just grow together, move. You know what I say? Raising the bar together, raising the bar together. That's what we do here. We raise the bar together. Wow. And we are back. Listen, how are you guys doing? How's it going wherever you are in the world? Those of you international, national, state, wherever you are, I hope that you're well. I really, really pray that you are well. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited just to be able to be on the platform another time. I'm excited that I have been in these YouTube streets for a whole year. I've been pressing and moving, and I'm telling you, it has been so different for me to pop on and be so committed, right? And trying to bring great content to you to help you move to another place called there. Wherever your there is, that's where we're striving for. So I welcome you once again. Let's see who's in the chat. Let's greet some people. Let's see who's here. Inay is here. Oh, she is the original Bravette. We got Rosa Griffin in the house. I'm telling you, we got some folks in the bleachers, some bleacher folks. We love you too. And we're saying, hey, 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 you don't have to come into the chat. I see you peeping, but that's all right. I don't mind. I don't mind. I love your presence. And so we're going to talk tonight about something so important as we always do. We always talk about something so very important. And tonight I want to share with you because, many times I feel, not just that I feel it, I see it, I experience that people confuse personality and character. They don't understand how to separate the two or understand the difference between the two because they do have some likeness to themselves. They're related. I can say they're kind of related, but I think that it's a good conversation to talk about character, beauty, and talk about personality. And so we're going to open up the show. I'm going to bring my sweet co-host to the show, to the platform / niece. I'm going to bring her on up. Dawn B is in the house. Dawn B is in the house. Let me unmute this mic. Are you mic'd? Are you
There you
okay?
go.
There you
There
go.
we go.
How are you doing?
Hey, everybody. I'm good. I'm great. I am glad the day is done and we are here.
You've had a busy day, you said, very busy day. It was
Yes.
one of those days.
It's all right. The day is it was a good day. Every day above ground is a good day. So
That's true.
I'm not gonna complain. I have no complaints. Could be
That's
worse.
true. I've been a little busy doing little things. You know, the unexpected pops up on you many times. We get up, we put our feet down, we don't know what's getting ready to happen. We can't anticipate everything. Well, I know
Right.
what we wish for and pray for, but then life be lifing, right? And it does. You have to be able to adjust to it and be able to, shift yourself
Right.
accordingly, right? And yeah, it's been a busy day for me. It's been different today. I've been in a different kind of space, just kind of really thinking, quiet, been
Mm-hmm.
quiet, right? And had some phone calls I didn't want to take, but I had to. And that wind up being an hour on one call. And I was like, okay, but you never know. God shifts the assignment. And when people need you, or
Lord.
there's some things that come unexpected, we have to adjust. It's about adjusting. And so tonight, listen, co-host Dawn B, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about this topic. A pretty face do not make character. It just does not. It's a proverb, but you know how we like proverbs on
Mm-hmm.
the Bravo. We love proverbs on this platform. Chop it up, talk about it, and gives us that thing to go think about. Like, oh yeah, And so tonight is very, we try to talk to people at large. We try to
Right.
be seeker friendly, and
Right.
even in the ministry channel, when we're over the on the other side of the YouTube block at the SIM broadcast, I try my best to be seeker friendly, right? Where whosoever will can come in and receive. And that's,
Right.
I think we have to remain mindful whether we're on this platform or a Christian platform. We should always have in mind to be seeker friendly, where anybody can stop by and receive something.
That's
You
right.
can't be so churchy that you run people away, but you have to have a practical a conversation in all that we do, because people are in different places in their lives and we want to embrace everyone. So
Every
we are so excited. I'm excited to talk about this tonight. And so let's get into it. I just wanted to share, I've been counseling, I think now, oh wow, since 19, first of all, let's greet some folks saying hello to you. They're saying, the original Bravette is in the
beautiful.
house.
Hi, beautiful.
And who's this? She's greeting Mama Rosa, and then Ene is saying congratulations. I thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. I hung in there. I hung in there. And then Rosa is saying, "Good evening, ladies," And so, yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and I pray that the Lord will show me how to increase not numbers, but increase the visibility in terms of, product, to
Right.
look different, to continue to get different things that I need in terms that will assist me
Mm-hmm.
to have a better lighting and things like that. And I know it's on the way. And I'm just happy to be here for this year. So, I've been counseling women and men and married. I mean, I've counseled them all, but I seem to have been a magnet to women for over, I want to say, maybe 35 years, maybe around that, that time.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't know the Lord was going to kind of segue me into that. But then some of my old friends, they said, well, you were the main one back in the day talking to everybody before you got saved. You always had somebody had you in the corner, and you was always listening to somebody's life story. You was always giving advice. They'd be like, where's Sheila? Over there somewhere being a philosopher or something, where my but your gifts, you don't know them before Christ. I didn't understand what God was doing. And then getting saved and becoming a believer. And then
Mm-hmm.
God turning the gift on a whole nother level. And it's funny how when you start out with God, he'll give you one layer, and you know this for sure for yourself. And you come in as the singer, right? And you were
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I'm going to be on the praise and worship team. Then, okay, I graduated in a sense to worship leader. And then I started traveling the country, teaching praise and worship, right? So you think, I'm in the pocket of music,
Right.
music. No, 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 no. The next thing you know, the Lord stopped revealing things like, okay, she's ready. Let's pull her into this. And so when the counseling, the professional counsel piece came into play, I was like, okay. But it was easy because it's my heartbeat and I was comfortable in it. But yet still you want to be have enough to share with people to help them grow
Right.
and to deal with any problem. And it's amazing how you can go through all these different levels and different traumas yourself, going through your own traumas, your own storms, your own mistakes, only to be able to get through those places to the other side, to be able to come back and counsel people who have fallen or where you were,
Yeah.
and that's why, sometimes we always say, I can't take you where I haven't been. Right. I,
Right.
I I can't take you where I haven't been. And because of, my life and because of where I've been, I realized that that is a big part of me, talking to people, talking to women, helping women understand it's okay to not be okay. It's
Right.
okay to have a
Right.
problem and to be down, but you can't stay there. You can't stay there too long, not around me. At a certain point, we got to get back up and keep it moving.
Can't do it.
Right, because the enemy comes to rob, kill, and destroy. That means time, your life, your anointing, your mind, and everything else.
Everything. You try to take it all.
Yeah, so in my counseling days and talking to different people and women, they always thought that personality and character is the same thing. So indulge me, while character and personality are both used to describe someone's behavior, the two examine different aspects of that individual. One's personality is more visible, while one's character is revealed over time through varying situations.
Mm.
And that is so true. Where they thought, oh no, personality and character, it's the same thing. No, I beg to differ. And if we don't understand these different dynamics of how we're wired, we will never get a full view understanding of who we are and where we're flowing out of, what area and what we need to do. And so as I began to counsel and graduated, got my degree and did everything. I see you, cuz. Thanks for being here. As I got the degree and, got turned on to understanding personality, characteristics, and things like that, I got so many answers, Dawn. So many answers why I did what I did, why I do what I do, why I didn't do what I didn't do, and what I needed to do. Things, answers that I have been searching for so many years after making so many mistakes in relationships and with my personal choices. I didn't
Hmm.
understand the in-depthness of how God wired me. And I always tell people, if you can find that, we're all looking for that, put a finger on that thing inside of us. Why? Give me, that, right? I mean, we're all looking for that answer.
Right.
Why? And it seems like we don't find it. But then when I actually did this and actually graduated, and after I got healed from my trauma, right, I was like, oh no, oh Lord, you've opened up my eyes. This I have to share. And it came in the form of the temperaments, right? And so I want to backdrop it and set up a little bit about the temperament before we move into this character situation, being that they're like sisters, to
Hmm.
give clarity, right? So here's something. I'm going to read something really short from my counseling notes, and then we'll jump into it, and then I'll drop, and I want you to kind of jump in and before we get into deeper conversation, your thoughts. So there are reasons for everything we do as human beings, though it is often difficult for us to understand why we think like we think, feel like we feel, or act like we act in life. Many of the answers for human behavior can be found in people's temperaments or personalities. Let's bring part of our crew up.
Oh,
Hello.
glad she made it.
Yeah, she's here. She's here.
I,
So yeah, let me just hit your mic. Okay, and then I'll put it back on for you. So many of the answers for human behavior can be found in people's temperaments or personalities. The study of the human personality goes all the way back to the famous Greek physician Hippocrates, which was 416 and to 370 BC. The father of medicine, he was titled as. He was born during the prophetic ministries of Nehemiah and Malachi, or some 450 years before the birth of Christ. See how far this goes back? Wow.
Baby.
Nothing is new under the sun.
Not a thing.
Hippocrates' work has been researched extensively and is used as a dynamic diagnostic tool in both psychology and psychiatry to this day. Facts. A generic explanation of human temperament or personalities is that all of us have been born with genetically inherited behavioral tendencies that are as much a part of our DNA as is the color of our hair. All of us are made up of DNA combinations passed on to us through our parents and ancestors. This fact is important because it helps us to more listen to more where did I go? This fact is important because it helps us to more fully understand the basic behavioral disposition. Even though much of our human personality is inherited, it should also be noted that much of it has been influenced and shaped by our unique environments, environmental impact. We know about that. Most scientific research on behavior, human behavior, suggests that about 50% of the variations in human personality are determined by genetic factors. So our human behavior is shaped equally by our environment and by our DNA. Thus, all of us as human beings have been hardwired by the Creator. Should I say that for the people in the bleachers?
Say it again.
I said most scientific research of it has been influenced and shaped by our unique environment. Most, right? Scientific says about 50% of the variation in human personalities are determined by genetic factors. Thus, all of us as human beings have been hardwired by our Creator. We are not just products of random chance. Psalm 119, 73, Psalm 139, 13, and Isaiah 44, 24. And we have all been impacted by the world around us. According to scientific analysis, all human personalities are commonly divided up into four major categories. Four major: extroverts and introverts. The four major categories: the sanguine, which is an extrovert; the choleric, which is an extrovert; the melancholy, which is an introvert; the phlegmatic, which is an introvert. Four: two extroverts, two introverts. And so I don't want to really get into that. That's a whole nother thing. I did that, and it's powerful. So the choleric and sanguine personality types are more outgoing, more sociable, and more comfortable in a crowd. Even standing out in the crowd, it's like, bring it on. They're like, give me their attention. I need it. And temperaments is always based on your needs and your wants. Your needs and your wants. And because your personality may be a sanguine, it may look like you're trying to steal the show or be a show off, but it's because they need the attention. Right. See how you can be misunderstood? This is so powerful for relationships as well. So the introvert personalities, the melancholy and phlegmatic personality types, are more shy and reserved and feel anxious about being in a crowd, especially at being singled out in a crowd. That is the foundation of tonight, what we're going to be talking about. OMG, a pretty face do not make character. And as we chop this up a little bit, and you and Pastor Rosa kind of give some input on what I just spoke about, then we'll take the train or the bus or the plane and jump into character. Talk to me.
You said so much. It is like that's a Selah, just to digest it all. But it's really true, and it helps us understand, like you said, who we are, why we are the way we are, um, you know, we're hardwired, like you said, a particular way. We're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. We're not gonna fit into every situation and every environment. And I don't even think so much we don't fit. We may not fit nicely, but there's
Mm.
room for us, no matter what you are. And I think when you understand who you are, like I don't know what I am. I think I don't know. I
Well,
think
well,
it's
keep in mind that there's no one across the board. There's a
right,
blend. There's
right.
always a blend. There's always a dominant
Hmm.
temperament, and then there's a number. Like when people come to me and we do the temperament profile, and I say at the end, they like, I can't believe this. I said, you answered. You picked the words, not me. And there's always a dominant, and then there's one that falls right up under it. So say there might be a melancholy that scores a 25.
Hmm.
That's a bona fide melancholy. But then you might have sanguine right up under that with a 12. So that means they're more open than a melancholy phlegmatic, right?
Yeah.
So it's a blend.
Yeah, it just it yeah, and that makes sense because it depends on what situation you're in, what environment you're in. In certain arenas, I am more vocal. I am more forthright. I'm more of the not so much the I'm more of the leadership role. The out front. In any arena, I dislike attention. I just don't. I just don't want to let me work, but let me be in the back. Like, don't say nothing to me. I'm good.
There you
You're about
go.
to just, real silent. But in other arenas, I'm more of the shy, quiet, reserved, like, I'm good. Long as I'm here, I'm good. Like,
Yeah,
it's okay. But I think when you understand who you are, and like you were saying, how the environment influences, good, both
absolutely.
good, and I don't really want to say bad, but we'll say favorable and unfavorable. Environment influences how we react, how we respond, how we move, what part of our character
True.
gets pulled out and displayed. you
True.
know Situations,
True.
it influence how, what part of our character. I've learned to say, we often say this saying, how people push you out of your character or pull me out of my
Yeah.
character. And I'm
Stretch you.
like,
Stretch you.
right. And I'm like, I learned to say, like, no, you don't really have the kind of power to pull me out of my character. What you're doing is pushing me to show you the other side of my character, or a
Hmm.
different side. But it's important that we know who we are and
Correct.
how we are built, so that when we do go into certain situations or environments, we're already prepared. We can govern ourselves a little bit better, because certain things trigger our emotions to react and respond certain ways, and people will say, well, I didn't know she was like that, or I didn't know
True.
he was like that. And it's not that, I'm not acting any differently. It's just the situation is
Hmm.
pulling this part of me out. But
Hmm.
if I'm aware of who I am and how I
Hmm.
respond, what my triggers are, I'm able to curb my emotions, just a little bit. If I can't, you get ahead of your emotions so that you're not
Yeah.
reacting, you know.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I'm learning. I'm learning. 53 years it took me, but I'm learning. Like, okay, just gotta,
Yeah.
but
Absolutely.
you put so much good information out there, and a lot for us to think about and really consider who you are, and know
Yeah.
that, again, there's no right or wrong. you know
Exactly. That's
don't
the
put yourself
key.
in a box.
That is it.
You are you, and there's nothing wrong with you. You're not, like you said, we're not cookie cutter. We're
Right.
not meant to be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Even twins are not exactly identical twins. There's one chromosome
Different.
off, you know. And like you
So
said, our
true.
DNA. Some things, I blame certain things that tell, when mom gets on me about something, I say, well, it's not my fault. It's you, I'm what you made me. It's in my genes. I can't help
That's
it.
so true. That is so true. And when I did this some 30 something years ago, I was in a terrible marriage, and I had to find out what I had so much going on in my life. I was doing things great. I didn't depend on it. I was doing wonderful. But it was that one thing in me, like, what is this thing that causes me to attract the same type of men, that
Oh,
causes me to,
Jesus.
what is this thing? Then I found out again, because of being the savior at my father was an alcoholic, so I was the savior in my house. So as a little girl, I became that codependent spirit attached itself to me. Now, who would understand that? I mean, you're young. Who could go all the way back and figure that? But then when I did this, I found out, I mean, I cried and I laughed at the same time because I got the answer of how I was wired and how I'm wired, so that now no one can violate me and I don't have to violate myself. Once
Right.
I understood the hard wiring of how the Lord wired me, Psalm 139 says that you were fearfully and wonderfully made, and I knitted you in the womb. He said that because he had that knitting needle, right? So he was there's different fabrics and things going on. And so it was so deep that I was so set free, but I had lost so much time by not understanding the fullness of who I am. And that's when I got so turned on by sharing it. And some people came in not even just for counseling, they would come just to get the profile and they would go about their business. Then I would have husband and wives. Then when I started marrying people, I will not marry you unless you and your mate take a profile, because you understand you need to get this information about each other. Let's see
Right.
what Pastor Rosa, jump in here.
Well, hi everybody.
how,
Good
how
night.
you doing today?
I was a little off because I forgot to tap on to the duck, and so Dawn was like, "Are you coming on?" And I'm thinking that I am on. I'm backstage or
Oh,
whatever.
you were in the chat. Okay.
I
Well,
was
you're
in the
here
chat,
now. You're
right?
here now.
You all right? We found you.
We found you.
But when I think about wow, you took me back to school, and I was kind of make kind of making me think I should go back or something. But it was a lot when what you said. Some of it is a refresher, some of it is new information. But clearly what you said is true. And I don't know which classes was I had. It was urban renewal or intergroup relations, something like that. That would say if you understand your culture, you'll respect other people's culture. So if you know who you are, you have a whole lot more patience with other people, and not expecting them to be, perfect or whatever, but I know for a fact that I am introverted. Predominantly, the dominant temperament for me is introvert. I'm
Mm-hmm.
coming out of it. I thought that once you were in that um, category, if you, for lack of a better word,
Mm-hmm.
that you stayed there, but you can actually graduate from there. You can actually come out of it when you recognize um, that your tendencies, or you can actually work on those things. And I'm not
True.
as introverted as I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would not be on here tonight.
Yes.
And as a child, I was so shy that it was almost crippling. And my family sings, so they would want me. We had to get up and sing at Easter and Christmas, and my father's kids had solos, so that meant you had to stand in the front. But I have no idea how I was able to um, get up and sing that solo. It might be because my father was sitting on the front row. That might have had something to do with it. But you're absolutely right in what you're saying. And um, we look at people and we think because people look a certain way or they act a certain way, we presume or we come up with assumptions and things until you really get to know a person.
Yeah.
Dawn never knew I was introverted. I never knew she was introverted
Mm-hmm.
and an introvert. Um, Predominantly, she is an extrovert with introverted tendencies,
Mm-hmm.
and that is so amazing, because you think a person is one thing or the other, but
Yeah.
you can be
That's why you can't guess.
you can be both.
I didn't know my mother was introverted at all. The first time I heard her say that, I think I almost fell out the chair. We were in a ministry meeting, actually. And she said, and I looked at her so hard, I forgot where I was. I forgot we was around other people. I was like, what? And
Yeah.
his pastor
Yeah.
said, he said, you didn't
But
know you
I
was
think
introverted.
mine
Where?
is
I said, I
more
never
from
seen nothing introverted about this woman a day in my life. But I had to realize, like, I saw mom, mom is not introverted
well,
at
that's a
all.
whole different person.
But
Right.
Rosa,
Mothers is a whole different person. You put that role on, all bets are off. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think mine is more environmental. Not so much environmental
Yeah.
in being raised in a very strict home.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with that. Let me insert this.
Mhm.
So, as you guys are talking about, you know, the stretching and the difference, one thing, the temperament never changes, right? If you're born a melancholy or if you're born a sanguine, that's who you are. That's
Mhm.
why I said it's strengths and weaknesses, needs and wants, right? But what happens is the environmental impact gives the dynamics of the temperament changing or opening up, such as I could be a melancholy and you could be a melancholy. Let's just
Mhm.
say this. And I was raised in the suburbs and you was raised in the inner city.
Mhm.
And although we have the same needs because we're both melancholies, because of where we was raised and who we were raised around and the culture of the home we were raised in, my response will be different from the person in the inner city. And that's where the conflict comes, where you won't even think that person has the same temperament that you have, because the adjustment, you're in the suburbs, and say you're in the suburbs and it's a house where there are two children, it's very quiet, there's no traffic in and out, and they're melancholies. And then you have a person in the inner city with 5 kids in the house and everybody in and out the house, the family, the cousins. What happens is the temperament remains the same, but because the interaction with people, it causes the melancholy to stretch
Mhm.
right.
because of the interaction with
Mhm.
different people. And that
Mhm.
person in the suburbs will be, you'll see them in the corner and they won't know how to really respond. They'll be sheltered. They'll be hit because they have not been in a situation, right? Such as that person. So then if you have the melancholy and has sanguine inside of them, then you got the sanguine, which is say, hey, sis, I'm here. Let's
Mhm.
talk, right?
Mhm.
But then melancholy's over here. I'm moody. I don't want to talk in the morning. I'm good. So then what happens with that, sometimes when you're in a relationship, it causes confusion with your mate, because one minute you may be this way and the next minute
Bipolar.
you're this way, and they're looking at you like, well, who are you? But you're
Right.
still you. They
Mhm.
just don't understand how you're wired, because
Mhm.
when you understand how someone is wired, you compromise and you give them the space to be. I had a couple, a married couple. He was a sanguine, she was a melancholy. They wanted a divorce. I said, well, why do you want a divorce? I can't take him anymore. He needs people, 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 people. I come home from work, people's in the house. I can't take it. She's a melancholy. She doesn't need people. She loves people, but she doesn't need. Remember,
Yeah.
needs and wants. He
Mhm.
needs people. So look at the conflict. They don't know either one is a melancholy or boo 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 boo. They don't have no clue of this information. So now they're arguing, fussing, and fighting for years. And then they get there, and I said, well, tell me exactly what you mean. Well, he takes me to the Christmas party and he leaves me at the table with strangers, and he goes out and he's Mr. Sociable and he knows I'm uncomfortable. So now the conflict, the violation, he's violating her and he's violating her. And they're saying they got to get a divorce. And I'm like, boy, oh boy, let's take this profile. They took the profile and they suddenly was like, oh, I said, that's why, because she's thinking he's going out getting with girls, and he's not home on Friday, and he's just, they say sanguines keep their shoes at the door because they can get a phone call, and if
And
it's a
they out.
party and they out, and the wife is like, well, wait, we where you
She
going?
was just like, am
We
I
were
not enough?
cleaning.
Right.
So now she thinks that he's messing all these signals. So you know the enemy tries to destroy marriages. So, but
Mhm.
when you have this information, so finally, when we did this profile, They had to look at each other and laugh because it was so funny that it was so simple of what they needed. I said, so now what has to happen is the compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not talking about character. We're talking about personality, needs, wants, and temperament. I
Mm-hmm.
said, so 2 weekends out the month, how about you sit home with some popcorn and some movies
Mm-hmm.
and cuddle, whatever she, I said, and then 2 weekends out the month, wherever he wants to go, you go. They was like, oh, that'll work. Because guess what? Now both of their temperaments are being met.
Right.
They're respecting that we're not the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're respecting that I can't give you what you want right now, but I'm working on it because I got the information now.
Right.
You understand? So as Pastor Rosa was saying, she's an introvert, and you was like, oh no, see, you can't guess because the behavior will say one thing, but the need will say something else.
Right.
Well, the mother needed to know she was not an introvert in mother role. Okay. That's what I knew. I said, this is a new person. I had to sit there and pay attention like it was my first day of school. I said, I don't know, who are you? I know
so
she's
funny.
shy, but I get, and like you said, it's environmental influence. Because seeing her in the role of my mom, always having to be the set authority, always having,
because she had to be.
Right.
She had to become strong.
Right.
She had to survive. She had to. We think about what Mother Rosa, Pastor Rosa is. Mother Rosa, Pastor Rosa, she's everything to us. What she told us about when she grew up, the type of household, how she had to be. So that's what I said, the environmental impact. She was forced out of that. Although that temperament, that soft side that you say you didn't know, because she was the hard one with the tongue, or let's get it together. You know how she is on the show sometimes. She says, no, well, if you know right, why you do it again? And because she knows. You get it? It's so powerful when you find these things out about yourself, because what it does, it allows you to fail. It allows you to forgive yourself.
Right.
It allows you to understand, oh, that's why I do what I do. That's why I always tell people, don't you ever come back in my office or on a Zoom or whatever and say what's wrong with me again. There's nothing wrong with you. You just have to understand how you're wired. Work on, let your strengths, your weaknesses become your strengths. And those of us that are believers, the Holy Ghost, the Spirit of God, will cause your weakness to become a strength.
Right. That's biblical. That's what God said. That's what His Word said. My strength is made perfect in your weakness. So that makes you. I mean, that was like such an opening. So you stop judging yourself. And you stop beating up on yourself, because this is just who you are. Some of us are weaker than others,
Absolutely.
But He didn't put a criteria on your weakness. He didn't say, well, Dawn, you can't be as weak as you are. You got, this, whatever our weakness is, that's where he said, His strength is made perfect.
And we have to understand the difference between character and personality. And that's why I say they're twins, they're cousins, they're sisters, however we want to relate them. I mean, I did the temperament profile on my 3 daughters when they were 10, because they have a children and an adult. And at that time, I tried to explain, I said, you won't understand all of this until you become an adult and unfold and evolve into, and sure and behold, to this day is accurate as I don't know what. And I'm like, I was like, and I'll tell them, well, you know how you're wired, your temperament. That's why you responding the way you responding, and then I've had people come in and I do their children, their teenagers, and they'll go home and say, well, Miss Sheila said that I'm like this because I said, you will not use it as an excuse. You
to
will
remain,
not,
right.
Yeah. Well, that's why I do what I do in school, because Miss Sheila said, nope, don't you do it, you know? So, this information, I thought it was very important to set the foundation of what we're talking about tonight, to understand the difference between personality and temperament, and how, those who did not hear the definition when we opened up, and said, well, character and personality are both used to describe someone's behaviors, The two examine different aspects of that individual. The two, the
Mhm.
two. One's personality is more visible, while one's character, here we go now, we're rolling into character, is revealed over time
Mm-hmm.
through very situations. And we know when people be like, oh, they showed their true character. How many times have you said that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know she was. Oh, I didn't know he was like that. They showed their true character at that
Mhm.
meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
character is going to come out. You
Right.
can't mask it for so long. What do you think
See your
about that?
true. I see the song. I see your true colors.
You're singing now. Y'all better watch out.
I'm just saying, it fit the moment. It fit the moment.
If it's the moment.
Yeah, but you can't
No, I
fight
mean,
who you are, and you can't, like you say, you can only repress it, but for so long.
Absolutely.
And you just have to embrace who you are. And again, it doesn't mean that you have to remain that way. We have to learn how to curb ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on, based on where you're at and what the situation is. But,
Mm-hmm.
everything that you said is such good meat for
mm-hmm.
us to
Mm-hmm.
consider, and really understand it. Because a test like that, putting it out,
Profile. No
the
test.
profile, I'm
Profile.
sorry, yes,
No,
profile.
because people say test, test.
No, I
No,
knew it
no.
was the wrong word. I knew,
Right,
after I
right.
said it,
No,
I was
I
like,
just
that's not the right
correct it because
word.
I don't want people to think, oh, I
Yeah.
pass or
It's
fail.
not a
No.
test. It's the profile. We erase
Yeah.
that. It's the
Yeah.
profile. It's the profile. Um, that gives such understanding about yourself. It gives clarity about those that you're with, so that
Yeah. Oh,
you know how much patience
yep.
you need, how much grace you need to extend to each
Absolutely.
other.
Mm-hmm.
Because the same way you want to be accepted as is the same way we have to accept each other as, like, I have to accept you for who you are today.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're starting anew to get to a better place. Now that we have, like you said, now that we have this knowledge, we got to walk it out.
Right.
Now that we have this, and it's
Work
good
on
when
it.
you can remind each other, like I said, I had to learn. I looked at mom in a different way after. I mean, like I said, I've known she's shy. I would say that, but I would have
Mm-hmm.
never expected that she was introverted, because she also always, and it makes sense kind of now, but she's always pushed me to come out of my box, because I used to be
Mm.
very shy. Like, I would hold on to the hem of her skirt and I wouldn't talk to nobody.
I'm
You
so
know.
glad she's on. She's living proof. We all have our stories, right? Different
Mhm.
ages we are, but we all have our stories where we can reflect on how we were,
Mm-hmm.
and how we found ourselves in certain situations because of how we were and didn't understand, right?
Mhm.
But through that process, we come out understanding and accepting who I am. A lot of, like, I can like I think on the platform before, I've said people always thought I was an extrovert because I have a mic in my hand on stage. I'm singing. I'm on TV. I'm singing. But then think about it. As an introvert, here we go. I have control of my space because the audience is way out there.
Right.
So I'm still I'm comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel violated. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to do what I do. So when you learn these things, you got to give yourself a break. You got to remember, I had to forgive myself for so many messed up things I had put myself in, situations, that wasn't good for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So because introverts are self-sacrificing. They put themselves last,
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
right? They're self-sacrificing. When you study this thing out, and the Bible, the prophets were introverts. Think about Moses. Think
Mm-hmm.
about the weeping prophet Jeremiah. Think of though they were, and then you think about Peter. He was a sanguine, cutting ears off, and the Lord telling him to shut up, get thee behind me. And you know what I mean?
Right. To
Because
hold your mule, right?
his
Calm yourself down.
personality was out there. And most recently, without revealing, I went on a road trip, and I know she doesn't mind. And Mother Sandra, we was on the train, and I said, "I'm doing your temperament. I'm bringing it with me on the train." She said, "Well, did you bring the papers?" I said, "Mm-hmm." So we did it, and when we finished, she was looking at me like this.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, How? I said, I didn't pick the words. You chose. It's accurate. And she was
Mhm.
like, I said, I want you to understand. I want to give you understanding. And this is with all of us. We, you know, and the Bible says, in all our ways, we get understanding. We need to understand
Right.
certain things, right?
Right.
And one thing about temperaments, I never share with anyone what someone's temperament is. That's private.
Right.
If someone wants to tell someone what they scored or how they came out, because guess what? Someone can take advantage of you and use that against you
True.
if it falls in the wrong hands.
True.
Mhm.
So let's jump into this accept and love your perfections. And before we do that, what you think, co-host? What you think, crew? Can we just put this up for a second? Being that we in celebration week,
Listen, go for it.
we in celebration week. Let me see if I
Do
can
it.
find my little. Here
Do
we
it. Do
go.
it. Do it.
Uh-huh. You said encore. You said encore. Okay, I heard you.
Yes,
And you
I
should
am.
be proud.
Woo!
And you should be proud, fellow
Yes.
introvert.
1 year, I know. 1 year and still building.
Right.
Listen, y'all
1
better light up
year,
the chat. Just throw a bunch of ones in there. Just some
one
party something.
1 year and still building. So Friday night at 7 o'clock, I'm gonna come on so that people can just stop by and say hi. You
Mhm.
know, they might want to do a Cash App or a Zelle. I don't know. I just will say hi. You
Mhm.
know, we made it. Let me see what my cousin Janice is saying. She said, yes, I now understand who I am at 74. See there? It's never too late.
No.
Never.
Yeah.
The
We're ever
understanding.
evolving.
Yes. So let's jump into how to become a woman of character, or let's say we're going to give a few points, right, crew? A few points on. Let's look at number one. Do you have it?
No,
No.
I didn't pull it up.
Okay, so it's number one is accept and love your imperfections, because this can lead to you messing up your character, right? Imperfections. So you know how this is actually, no one just stumbles across character, right? No one just stumbles across it. It takes experience and it takes fearless honesty. The
Mhm.
word is honesty with yourself and with others, right? It takes courage to admit a mistake and learn from it. This is one facet that makes up true character. So human beings are imperfect by nature. So don't be afraid to be wrong, to have made the wrong choice and therefore needing to readjust. The readjusting piece I find is so important, because this is so important because people lie to themselves. They lie, they pretend, they create images that's not true, and eventually they're uncovered and exposed. Then people say they fake because they what? Didn't have character, because they created this whole thing. Go ahead.
So, I feel like we do that oftentimes because, it's all for a matter of acceptance, and we're always measuring ourselves up to, this is the crazy thing. And we do this and we all do it. But we're trying to measure ourselves up against another imperfect person, trying to be
Ooh.
perfect for the imperfect person, you know, and they're not trying to be perfect for you, but and they're busy trying to be perfect for someone else, and it's like it's never ending cycle. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, it's very important that we accept and love our imperfections.
Mm-hmm.
In my business, um we have items that is a line that we use often. Some of then everything is not handmade. Some, everything, I mean, excuse me, everything is not cookie cutter. Some things are handmade. So some people will get an item that has different, it may have some chunks missing or whatever. And they'll say, oh, this is damaged, or this is, it's not like the one that I saw. And we have to tell them, no, this is the natural characteristics of this item. It's one
Mm.
of a kind. You know, what you're seeing is not an imperfection, it's the natural makeup
Right.
of this item.
Right.
And that's how we've had to learn to look
That's
at
good.
myself, and how we need to look at ourselves, that while other people are looking at what they say is imperfect, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually a one of a kind. Like, I'm actually like you are actually, like, hey.
That's really good. Imperfections in our physical, imperfection in what you think you see or know. That's a big one. I'm gonna let Pastor Rosa jump in. The things that you consider imperfections are most likely the things that make the people closest to you love you so much. Character can be seen from your ability to accept and love what you've been given, physically or whatever. You just said that. You just said that. Janice says, so very true. What do you have to add to that, Pastor?
I remember, right, as I said, I came from a musical background, and my grandmother was a big, person as far as the community. But when it came to us, the grandchildren, we knew we knew that we were in a family where they're very impressive people, but they didn't push us to how would I say, reach your self-actualization. They didn't push us for that. And one day my aunt said to me, my aunt had gone to Juilliard, very talented, and she said to me something to the effect of making them proud. And I wanted to know, well, why do we have to do all these things to make you proud? Just accept us as we are. Going back to something that Dawn said, we're looking at people assuming that they're perfect, not knowing that they're not perfect. But are we willing to accept the truth that none of us are perfect, especially the one that you're looking at and kind of wanting to emulate yourself behind, and emulate yourself after this person, and putting yourself down. And none of us are perfect.
So
We're
true.
just, like you said, how long do you fake this? How long,
Tiring.
Too much energy.
the moment is gonna come. My daughter had a guy that she was dating, and both of them actually had a guy they were dating, and the moment came when all of the facade was over. It was over. My oldest daughter, the guy, he used to, he was so loving, and he'd rub her feet and he'd do this. And I said, Dorian, let me ask you a question. Is this real? Is this who you really are?
Then she name it.
And he had the nerve to say to me, it is.
They name it names.
No, I mean, listen.
She.
Just cut.
It's okay.
I love my mother. I love her.
Wait, if we were shooting the movie, you would have been like, cut. Wait, cut.
It's okay, because I really did ask him that. I did.
Oh God,
She did, but
it's so hilarious.
I'm just saying, but we're busy looking at
Lord help us.
other people and thinking that they are really better than who we are. A lot of us grow up like that, and
No, that is true.
this causes a lot of pain.
That's true.
To ourselves.
So let's look at number 2. Stand for some. Oh, you want to say something, co-host?
No, I'm good.
Stand for something and stand up for it. Having character is all about being able to stand up for what you believe in and not being afraid to voice it. If you don't do this, you run the risk of lacking individuality and lacking character when you allow people to silence you, when you don't develop and understand, go back to temperament, pushing past the things that cause you to be fearful, and you won't talk because your temperament is saying, don't say that, and you want to say it. These are things that we have to identify with ourselves. So you may think it's common sense, but it's not. So, for example, what give me an example of that where you see this standing up for something, and have you ever been in that kind of situation where you were silenced? You want to say something, but you were silenced either by the crowd, by the teacher, by yourself, right? And later on you found out I should have said something. Or people judge that you didn't say something like, she don't have enough character. People will label you. That's why we have to, when we know ourselves, we are more aware of how to respond, and we don't allow people to violate us. I don't want to stay there. Let's move on to 3. Align your values and beliefs with your actions. That's a big one. Ask yourself, what do I really stand for? You know how many people can't answer that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that has to do with your convictions, right? If you know what your convictions are, it's really, if you know, what is the saying? You'll fall for anything. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Right. So
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, that I don't even think it's that we don't know. People don't know what they stand for, because they do. You know, internally, like I've learned not to accept the answer, I don't know. That's not, because you do know. The thing is, you're not willing, or are you willing to let your stance of what you know cause you to stand alone?
Yeah, but yes, that's so important.
That's the fear. It's of having to stand there alone.
That's it. Or even like, you know, I mean, I really commend women and people who are bold. Like sometimes they'll just say what they want to say, and when it falls wherever it falls, and they're okay with it, they're not intimidated. They just said it. And I might be standing there saying, Dag, I wanted to say something, but I didn't say it. This was, you know, years ago. I mean, I still, you know, because your temperament will stick his little head up and cause you to just bow down. And you have to fight against your temperament. You have to push past it yelling at you, no, don't speak. Or yelling at you, you better not say that. You're going to look like a fool. Or, you know, you got to shut them voices down where another person next to you be like, oh, no, you such and such and such. You're like, oh, okay. So I just love the different wiring of people and how what someone has that I don't have. And when you're with people that can help you grow or give you courage, you grow.
Well,
that's like Jeremiah
and my best friend, they don't let me say nothing. They always tell me not to say nothing.
Who? What?
Mom and my sister and my best friend. I'm like, I'm just saying what y'all was thinking. I was like, I just said it. It was wrong.
Because we know her, and so we know what's going to come out of her mouth, and so we don't want to say that. So we be like, no, you know. But that's like Jeremiah, right?
It's her fault. The lady in the box.
He didn't want to. He didn't want and it's like that too in ministry.
Yes, you know, that's a good point. Jeremiah, yes.
Something to say, and you got to get over the fact that this is your child, your sister, your mother, your father, or whoever it is. You have to get over that and do what he has given us to say.
Which is why I say it anyway.
That is very.
This is why you say that. Yeah, you know, that's funny. That's funny you say that, Mother Rosa. That is so true, that you could get in trouble by not saying, if we put it on the scriptures, like how you were saying Jeremiah and Moses, I can't talk. I can't go. I can't talk to those people. They're not going to believe me. Why you give me these rude people to talk to? And the assignment never changed. The assignment stayed the same.
Jesus.
So you know, people, whether it was days of old or now, we're wired. And you see how I opened up the show talking about Hippocrates, 450 BC,
right.
How this happened and how this, you know, medicine man was doing and researching and doing all this scientific stuff way back then, because people are people. Right. And you get in trouble. I know for me in the music business, people used to say, well, you need to say this. And I've never been competitive. So I think, well, how the heck did I get into the music field?
I know, right?
Like, well, Lord, what are you doing? Because, you know, I've never been competitive in any kind of way with music. And in order, they say, to succeed or to get to a certain level, you have to be like, I'm the one. I got it. And don't get to a church and all they do is riff. because I wasn't raised in the church as a singer. I came after the fact. So my style of singing is totally different. God wired me, my voice, my style so different. And I used to go to some of these Pentecostal, I would be in church and stuff, and I would feel so intimidated, not because I didn't think I was qualified, but because how they was riffing, and they was like, oh, how does she riff? What do you mean? Where's the anointing? Forget the riff. I'm not here to.
That was the anointing.
I'm not here to riff. And so I found out even people wouldn't hire me because I didn't fit in that slot of that dun, 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 dun. I didn't fit into that whole. I come from a praise and worship vein, right? Which is different from a choir, Kojic type Church of Lord Christ, all those church. And I got wounded, and sometimes in my career in churches because I didn't sing like them, but I never tried to, right? And the Lord was like, I got you. And then he began to open doors international here, because it was about what's on me. He blew a fresh on me. So that was the point for people to be healed through the ministry, for people to receive him through the ministry. But you have to be strong enough when you go in certain arenas to take it.
Yeah, but see, you stood for what you stood for, and you stayed in your lane. That's the example. That's it right there. That's living proof.
We have
to know who we are, and refuse to, change from that, because, I didn't go as far as you went with the music, but in my experience in being out there, I had interviews or what, I forgot what you call them, but I went to try out for a gig here, and I think Phyllis Newman, right? She got the gig because there was no way that I could come behind her. And then the guy, my producer, he was trying to tell me, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't come out of my character, for this is me. This is who I am. Give me a stool, give me the mic. I'll sing, this, just give me my props. That's it. I don't have all of that, that stage presentation, and that's not me, but it's that you have to stand for who you are.
Yes, right. So let's look at number 5. Do what is right in any situation. And I think we've already said that. Give value from the heart, right? Just give value from the heart. And you can't say it no better than that. You don't have to be combative. You don't have to be, we talked about that. You don't have to, try to be someone else. Character will be tested. And I've said many times, especially in not just in church, but in corporate arenas, I've seen people get promotions that has zero character, right? And a person sitting over on the side, and I'm like, well, how they didn't get the gig? How they didn't get promoted? They're the ones who, and so it'll always stick its head up. I've seen people, especially in the churches, drives me bananas, where someone has a call on their life. And the call is there, but the character has to meet the call. The character has not developed to put that person up front to care for God's people. The character has not developed enough to lead anybody, but they got a call on their life, because what it does, it messes that person up in their ministry, and they sometimes never recover.
That's good. The character has to be. I'm writing that down. I put that on the t-shirt.
How many times have we seen that?
And stuff
Listen, and that's a major thing, because you do more harm to that person. And like I said, sometimes they never recover, because guess what? People come against them. You this and you that. And why you didn't do this? Well, you put them in the position, didn't train them. They're not ready.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Character has to be developed and tested.
Yeah.
Right? Someone tells you something, a secret. We talked about this. And they trust you. It took them 3 years to tell one person. They pick you. They pick you.
Right.
And they share it with you. And for some reason, you feel you got to tell it to your best friend because you're best friends with that person.
Right.
And next thing you know, it's called what? Telephone, post office. Then it
Mhm.
becomes public, right? Character speaks volumes. You have, your integrity is character, right? Who are you underneath the pretty face
Yeah.
and the makeup?
Yeah.
Who are you under the
Oh,
pretty face and the makeup and the
right.
facade, right? I know it's hard, but accept the aging process. This is a good one.
Mhm.
Your wrinkles are character lines.
Right.
Yeah.
They
Listen, I
show
earned it. We earn these wrinkles
we earn them.
and white hair.
Yeah. Yes, it's true. You people, many of the girls are getting, Botox. I'm not, no judgment here, doing certain things because they lose touch with who they really are. They don't understand by being fixed
Mhm.
doesn't make them a woman of character.
Right.
It doesn't. It's a facade. It's going to wear out because if you get with anyone who knows what character looks like, it's a wrap.
You talking right.
And
It's
you
a
know
wrap.
the thing about that too is that some people will, when we get older, we're trying to go back to when we were younger. We're trying to look like what we did when we were younger. But the person that you're going to attract is your age. So, they age
Well,
you with
maybe,
you.
maybe not.
Well,
Could be a cougar.
for some,
Wait.
wait a
Wait.
minute, for some of y'all,
I'm sorry. I had to get that.
You said, well,
Well,
that's okay.
maybe
50
not.
50.
I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm gonna
You
stay
go
in my-
ahead. You go ahead. You stay right
We
there.
with you, boss.
We with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're with you. But listen, okay, we're gonna keep it moving from that. Don't don't be afraid to voice your thoughts and opinions. Remember that just like you and anyone else, you have the right to express your opinion. Now, let's give some things that negate character, and then we're gonna close. But what I wanted to say, and what is the name of this show tonight, my dear sisters? What is the name of this topic tonight?
A pretty face
Pretty face.
does not make character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They do not. They do not. They will never. They
Mhm.
will never give you what you think it is. You can look good, get your hair and makeup done,
All of that.
put some fine clothes on.
All of that.
You can smile.
All of that.
You can smile widely and you can be nice.
Cross your leg.
You can cross your leg.
Man, don't forget, put on your smell good now. Leave a little trail. Leave a little fragrance. Right.
You can be polite.
Yeah.
You could even be accommodating. But without character, you run the risk of being a boring woman.
Yeah, you just put on a face.
Mhm.
Let the church say, amen. And we don't want boring women out there. We do not. We do not. We do not. We do not. So, things that negate character: conforming, lack of confidence, thinking only of yourself,
Self. Wow.
being nonchalant about things, and especially things that matter. I don't care. What did you say? I don't care what he said. I don't care what she said. I want to do this, and I've been such and such, and I know what I'm saying. I don't really care. Now you got to still stand up for yourself, but we talking about things that work against you.
Yeah.
We're not silencing nobody. We giving you the push to be who you are. Following fashion trends to excess. Now that is a big one. Because again, fashion masks who we are.
Yeah.
Big time. A lot of men, even in these YouTube streets, talking about, the modern day woman this and the modern day woman that, and she's dressed up with the lashes and the weaves and the this and the that. But those the same women they chase after, been after, messed with before. They might have changed because guess what? They've run into those type of women and found out what? They had no what? Character.
Character.
Now you may find a beautiful woman that has character, But
Yeah.
from what I understand, they say they foreign in between. And see, we're at a certain age, right? So there's a different flow of females out there right now. There's
Oh,
a different set and a
Lord.
different trend, and they have different principles, and they don't shift the rules, the values, they done did everything, but the men still remain the same in what they desire.
But it's always been that way. It's always been uh, every female is not a lady. You might
Mm,
be female or woman, but every female and every woman is not a lady. I mean, really.
that's true.
Oh,
That's
so I
true.
had to laugh at myself because after Mama said that, I was going to say every female ain't even a female these days. We don't really
Correct.
know.
Well,
Oh,
I
you can.
mean,
You know.
Yeah, I've heard of a couple of instances where some guys got caught out there because
And
the
I mean,
beauty,
no,
because no judgment,
right.
but because you can be so beautiful,
right.
right? You can be so beautiful, and things have changed. Life has changed. Sandra and I was on the phone talking about things are totally not how they used to be.
Hmm.
Things are so different that we have to adjust everything. We have to adjust if we're going to the party or outside. I was invited to a vigil tonight, and I thought about it, but of course I had the show, but it was just going to be too many people. The city
Hmm.
of Mount Vernon and Yonkers coming together for a vigil tonight, and I was like, okay, well, there was a time we could say, oh yes, I'm coming to support, I'm coming to march, but then I was like, wait a minute, crowds,
Mm.
COVID,
Yeah.
like now wisdom
Right.
Hmm.
totally has to be your best friend.
Yeah.
Wisdom totally has to be our best friend on things that we never even had to consider to think about.
It's true.
Things have shifted and changed, and so much, like we're talking about with the modern day woman, not challenging yourself. Everything in your world is either growing or it's dying. There's no in between. If you're not challenging yourself, then you're less likely to add value to others, to conversations, etc. Feeling the need to lie. Integrity is central to character. To have character, you must exude candor and honesty and sincerity. Wow. We know about character. We
Hmm.
know that we continue to guard it,
Hmm.
safe keep it. Don't allow that to even drop an inch
Right.
because we've paid a price
Yeah.
to become who we are.
Hmm.
We've learned lessons.
Hmm.
We've been accused of things that weren't true, and our character has been assassinated.
Right.
Can I put both hands up for myself?
Hmm.
Wait, I want to put my leg up, but I
Put
can't.
up to it.
Can I put my head to count for another one? No,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Character
Yeah.
assassination.
Hmm.
I've lived it. I've lived it. I've lived it. So we need to understand that character is so important, but you must know how you're wired, who you are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, what your needs and wants are.
Wow.
I've had some friends, they be like, oh, girl, I ain't had no man. Oh my God, I ain't had no man in a year. I can't handle it. I can't take it. Oh, Lord, I can't. I be like, oh, okay. Because her need is different.
Hmm.
Her need is different from mine.
Right.
And when you don't understand your needs and your wants, you get in trouble.
Hmm.
Amen.
Amen.
Last words. Last
Yeah.
words.
Go ahead, Mommy.
Go ahead, mommy.
Hmm. Character for me is so important. It's always been. It's always been. I'm not perfect, but I do check myself. I make sure that the way that I look is giving the message that I want to be received. It's just me. It's just the way that I've been all my life. At the end of the day, I have to live with me. And
Mm,
so, character is so important. And I want to say it like this. I'm not trying to be funny, but it's like your virginity. Once you lose it, it's over.
bye bye.
Yeah,
That's true.
it's gone.
That is so true. That's deep right there. That's a whole Mother Rose is trying to open up a big topic
She
as we
trying,
bow out of this.
right? She trying to catch up, make part two. We ain't fooling with you today, Rosalie.
Part two.
Oh my. Yeah, no, that was good. I would just say, so much has been dropped tonight that the point of conformity, you know, hold on to your authenticity. As you said, accept and love your imperfections. Make sure that your character meets the call. That's key. And I would just end it by saying, make sure that the mental and moral qualities of your character is what makes you beautiful and is the
Mm.
drawing card, moreover, how beat your face is.
Oh, you are not ending this like this. What is she doing, Lord? What's going on here? Like, wait a minute.
Just
What,
saying.
what you just saying? Ah,
Just saying.
ah,
Just say
uh-huh.
loud.
Okay. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a gas. It has been incredible. If you have not hit that like button, go ahead and hit that like button for us. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Meet us back here on Thursday. We're going to try to stay on schedule for Thursday, but we are definitely coming back in celebration for Friday at 7 p.m. just to
Amen.
hang out a little bit, maybe have some popcorn or I don't know, do something. We're going to do something. Just be here just to say hello to everyone and thank everyone for supporting us because we could not stay and grow the way that we've been growing. We're still building. That's the motto. Okay, you want me to show you?
I love it.
We're still building. And we want to say thank you
Mhm.
so much. And my words to you, you know what I'm going to say. When nothing changes, nothing changes. If anyone is interested in getting this incredible profile that I do, you do not have to have counseling sessions. If you just want to do that session to find out the dynamic temperament that you are, the great blend that you are, you can reach out to me at Sheila Ingram Ministries at gmail.com or Bravo with Sheila at gmail.com. And I'll be glad to accommodate you to really get you to understand how you're wired. You will never be sorry that you did this profile. It doesn't matter how old you are. I just think it's a gift that you should give to yourself. So remember, when nothing changes, nothing changes. And so, what do you have to do? You have to keep it moving. Keep it moving. We will see you possibly on Thursday, definitely on Friday. We're going to keep it moving here. We're excited and we thank you so much for being with us constantly here on Bravo with Sheila. Ladies, let's chat. And the crew. It's a crew. It's a crew thing happening. It's the crew. All right, guys. Ciao. Stay right there, ladies.